Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 4. Now, the first thing I need to say is sorry for the terrible audio. I'm away from home, I only have my computer. I didn't think they would drop any promos for the DC TV shows while I was gone because they only dropped them, last week, some of them. So sorry about that, but before we get into anything else, let's actually watch this new promo.
You need to prepare yourselves. Barry? You're home.
The Flash.
I made you a new suit. May I take it for a spin? Flash is back.
So yeah, just once again, I want to apologize for the voice. I just really need to stress because I know it's going to turn out terrible. But that was actually a pretty awesome promo. There actually is a decent amount of things to go over, even though the promo is only like 20 seconds. So they did show us a decent amount. Some of the things do answer some common theories and some questions going around from previous trailers and set photos and all of that jazz. But obviously, before we go ahead, do be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what was your favourite part from this short promo. And also do be sure to let me know in the comment section down below if I missed out on anything. So if there's a certain part that you noticed and I completely glazed over it and do not mention it at all in this video, do be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, be sure to leave a like on the video to show your support for the video and the channel as a whole, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So the first real thing to go over is the opening scene, as you would think. And it's interesting, we see this truck with some fruit on it, or vegetables, one of the two, and something coming towards it. It's a speedster. They collide with the truck, and it does seem to be Barry when he first emerges from the Speed Force, because when we see the feet of whatever's connected with this truck, you can see like Speed Force or energy just like bursting from the legs, and it's just like, what the hell's going on here? It almost reminds you of like Zoom when he had the velocity formula going through him. He just had so much like energy flowing through him, so it's very reminiscent of that. So you would have to think this is just after Barry's emerged from the Speed Force, because if you'd been trapped in there for so long, just like sitting in that energy, you think when you emerge, you would just be, you know, flowing with it. So you would have to think this is when Barry first emerges from the Speed Force. The next scene to talk about is when Lucille brings Team Flash. I think it's Cisco, Caitlin, Wally, Joe, and Iris. I think I've got all of them. When she brings them all into Central City Police Department, she walks them into a room. You're like, okay, who's in there? And, well, it's Barry. So they've obviously found Barry. I don't know what's going on there, whether maybe he passed out or something from after he emerged from the Speed Force, who knows. But you can see Iris like trying to connect to him, and you can just get a sense that in this scene there's going to be no connection there. Like, Barry might slightly remember who she is, but not know like that they're very close or something like that. So this scene's going to be very interesting to see play out. And it does just give you a pretty big hint that something has happened to Barry. Barry has changed from his experience in the Speed Force, and it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes to go back to, you know, quote-unquote normal Barry. We then see a character we've seen in some of the previous promos and trailers and stuff like that, and that is the Samuroid. But we do get some new shots here, and the main one to talk about is when he takes Iris and actually flies away with her. So in some set photos and set videos and stuff like that, we had seen some like hints that the Samuroid is going to be able to fly. In the comics, they can fly because it's multiple things. It's not just one character. The Samuroid is like an army of samurai, robot, android things. But in this episode, it looks like it's just going to be the one sole Samuroid. But yeah, so he's going to be able to fly. He's got like jetpacks on his legs. So yeah, that's most likely what's going to happen here. As we can see Joe and some other officers looking up in the sky thinking, oh crap, that dude can fly. And now we get a scene which sort of answers two questions or theories, however you want to word them, might I say. The first one has to do with Barry and his facial hair. So one of the common theories was when Barry emerges from the Speed Force, is he going to have a beard? Because Grant Gustin had been spotted in Vancouver sporting a beard of sorts, like a lot of facial hair. And there had been some confusion whether Grant was just way too lazy to shave before he arrived in Vancouver, or whether he had that for a reason. And going by this screenshot or this shot from the trailer, he had it for a reason. So Barry's going to emerge from the Speed Force with a beard. But then we also have Cisco telling Barry that he made him a new suit. So this answers another question about that new suit that we've seen in some set photos, as well as the trailer. Because in the previous trailer to this, they did reveal Barry in his new suit, which is the same suit that we saw in the episode from last season when Barry went to the year 2024 and met his future self. So this does answer the question that Barry's new suit will not be made by the Speed Force, might I say. Cisco is going to be the one that makes it. So you could say that's a bit disappointing, but I didn't really care how the suit was made. I think it was just cool that the suit was there. I just, I think a lot of people thought that the suit would just be made by the Speed Force, because the Speed Force has made Barry a suit before, so why not give him this new cooler suit as well, the Speed Force, even though it can be a bit harsh sometimes. You think it can be a bit generous as well. But as I did just mention, we saw Barry with a beard. When he's in the hospital bed, he's definitely going to emerge from the Speed Force with the beard. But then we see this scene where Barry and his eyes are flickering. And this does look like it's in the Speed Force. It looks like it's in the Speed Force prison, if you want to call it that. Like the memory, like the really bad memory that Barry is living over and over and over again. But if you look here, he doesn't have a beard. So what I think is actually happening here is that Barry... this is the shot of Barry when he first enters the Speed Force. So I think we're going to get like a slight quick recap of what Barry's been doing over this last 6 months, even though it's most likely the same thing for the last 6 months. So we're just going to see Barry when he entered the Speed Force, what he had to relive, and then we're just basically left to assume that he had to live with that for the next 6 months until he emerges, and that's why Barry is the way he is. So that's why Barry most likely doesn't have a beard here, because this is when he first entered the Speed Force, right at the end of Season 3. Obviously, there is the slight chance that this isn't in the Speed Force. This is outside of the Speed Force after Barry has a chance to shave. But I don't know, the lighting and stuff just looks like it would be in the Speed Force prison. Everything else we've seen from Season 4 so far is very brightly lit in certain rooms, and this is much more darker. So it does seem like this is in the Speed Force rather than out of the Speed Force. We then get the same shot that we had in the San Diego Comic-Con trailer where Cisco's at like the pipeline and there's like an explosion. But now they've actually added CGI to it, so now we can see that it was Barry that was breaking out of the pipeline cell, and that's what caused the explosion. One question around this is that it does look like the pipeline is locked and Barry just burst out of it. So does this show like how powerful Barry is now, or did like Cisco like slightly let him out and Barry was able to like get out of that slight crack in the pipeline cell? Who knows? Because we've had like Reverse Flash locked up in there, and he didn't even attempt to burst out of there. So very interesting. But yeah, so this is the same shot from the San Diego Comic-Con trailer. It's just they've added the CGI Barry in now, which shows us why there was all that explosion happening. And the last shot from the actual trailer to go over is when we see Barry running around Star Labs, and this is most likely after he has returned from the Speed Force. So we're going to get that scene where Lucille takes Team Flash to not Star Labs, the Central City Police Department. They see Barry. They most likely bring him back to the Star Labs to most likely do some tests and stuff on him, and then he gets loose and starts doing that, because obviously Barry's going to be changed. He's most likely not going to have any major recollection of who he is or what's going on, so it's probably going to be like a loose cannon for the most part, which then leads them to locking Barry in the pipeline cell just to calm him down a bit, which then he escapes from and most likely saves Iris from the Samuroid. Because from all this promo material, you can really piece together how Episode 1's going to play out, so there's nothing, I think, too much that's going to happen in Episode 1 that's going to be too surprising, just because they've released so much content, even though they've released hardly any trailers for the most part. So yeah, it's actually pretty surprising that they released this promo and put so much stuff in it, because it really just does explain what's going to happen in Episode 1. But anyway. And then right at the end of the trailer, we actually do see a new logo appear. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is pretty cool, but I think it's pretty cool as well, because it's red. Usually it's like a gold, yellowy sort of logo. Now, they have been talking about it, that like this season's not necessarily like it's a complete reboot, but it's like a soft reboot. Like it's taking the tone back to like the Season 1 tone, how Season 1 was a lot more fun. Season 2 got a bit darker, and Season 3 just went a bit more darker than it should have. So it's good to see that they are going back to this lighter tone for the show, and just putting this new red logo on it does show that the show is changing a bit, not completely, but just changing its tone a bit, and making the Flash more like the Flash, if that makes sense, because there has been some complaints about that, and I think the showrunners are listening. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. As I did say, I'm sorry about the audio, but if you did enjoy it, it would be awesome if you could leave a like on it just to show your support for the video and the channel as a whole. Let me know in the comment section down below what was your favourite part from the trailer. Did I miss out on anything? Do you have any replies to anything I've said in the trailer? Just leave them all down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.